Johannesburg residents are about to feel the pinch. From the 1st of July, the city's new tariffs come into effect, bringing increases across electricity, water, sanitation, refuse removal, and property rates. Electricity consumption will increase by 8.63%, water by 12.5%, sanitation by 11%, and refuse removal by just over 6%. Property rates will increase by 3.6%. According to the city's own estimates, a middle-income household could see its monthly account increase by around 667 Rand a month. The city says the hikes are needed to maintain infrastructure and improve service delivery in the city. But for many residents, the question is whether they can afford to pay more during a cost of living crisis.
The stories keep coming. On one part, vindication, and on one part, vengeance. You know what I'm talking about. My dear brothers and sisters. Yeah, umegunduwa kuwa yeyeta na yewapinga wa Nigeria hukabiliana na nguvu za asili. Whoever fights and humiliates their own invites termites to feast on his body. That is what is happening to South Africans. And this time, it is hard to find any African outside South Africa forming a pity party, except those already cashing out from gullible South Africans by feeding on their emotions.
Music is life. Music is spirit.
But to bring us up to speed, let us summarize these via a beautiful documentary.
Wanted foreigners gone, and they got exactly what they asked for. But here is what nobody in the March and March movement saw coming. The moment foreigners started leaving South Africa, the shops closed, the markets went quiet. The informal economy that millions of ordinary South Africans depended on every single day began bleeding out. Spaza shops that fed entire townships padlocked overnight. Supply chains that kept prices affordable for the poorest communities severed. And now the very communities that cheered the loudest are standing in those empty streets asking a question nobody inside this movement prepared an answer for. Where did everybody go? This is the story of two people who lit a match and never stopped to think about what would burn. Jacinta Ngobese Zuma, Pakelum Takati, the two most recognizable faces of South Africa's most explosive anti-immigrant movement in a generation. But what one of them confessed in private will make you question everything you thought you knew about this story. Who are Jacinta and Pakelum Takati? So who exactly are these two people, and how did they manage to turn an entire country? Ngobese Zuma is a former radio presenter from KwaZulu-Natal who founded March and March in 2025, a name deliberately chosen to signal the protests would never stop until the government acted. Her stated mission was clear: remove undocumented immigrants. She said mothers were calling her crying, children locked out of schools, hospitals overwhelmed, the township economy being stolen. She did not expect what came next. Pakelum Takati, real name Nkosikona Ndabandaba, is an actor turned activist who became the movement's most inflammatory public voice. Together with radio personality Ngizwe Mchunu, these three became the face of an anti-immigrant machine that analysts tracked across nearly 4 million posts on X between January and May 2026 alone. City by city, the marches grew bolder and louder, and the government, instead of pushing back, invited them into the union buildings for a high-level meeting. That single decision handed them something far more powerful than a megaphone. It handed them political legitimacy, what they demanded. Then came the deadline that shook the entire continent. June 30th, 2026. That was the date spreading across social media and WhatsApp. The day all foreign nationals were supposed to be gone or face the consequences. Mobs armed with sticks, whips and shields marched through townships. Foreign shops were looted. Legal refugees with valid documents were too terrified to go home, camping outside Home Affairs offices because organized groups were hunting through residential streets at night. Here is a critical detail almost nobody reported. When the June 30th deadline drew global condemnation, Jacinta publicly distanced March from it, saying she would need to speak to Ngizwe Mchunu and Pakel Umthakathi because they issued the deadline, not her organization. Read that again. The founder of the movement, publicly separating herself from the deadline her own co-leaders announced to the world. The machine she built had grown so large it was running faster than she could control. And that is precisely when the consequences nobody had calculated began arriving. Stay with me, because what happened next did not just hurt foreigners. It started destroying South Africa from the inside out. The consequences nobody predicted.
This is the 4-minute summary of what's been going on in South Africa, plus the buying and the vices and the rest of them. Now it is the season of harvest. South Africans are gladly reaping the fruit of their brutality without thinking.
It's very, very, very difficult. We have only more than 15 cars from early in the morning. I was here from 4 o'clock until now. I never get a load. It's difficult. The business is down. I'm thinking about the new cars we have bought. We're not going to make it. We are not going to make it. We are not going to pay the car installment. If we can live like this, there is no business. It's going to be difficult. The foreigners, we must live with them. If we want our economies to go up, we must live with the foreigners.
South Africa's economy is already crippled. South Africa's economy has been deindustrialized from about 2004. It's in a serious situation. Basically, what was happening with all the migrants that have been chased away, why the migrants took why South African corporations took migrants from out of other African countries, because cost of production per unit was much cheaper. Because you cannot open a business, you and I or anybody, I cannot buy a packet of peanuts for 10 cents and sell that packet of peanut for 2 cents. I'm not making a profit, because there must be a return on my investment. I must cover my costs, my expensive costs and all that. This is pure business. So all the people who left, there were thousands, and I would argue that our intelligence in South Africa knew about it, our government knew about it. This scapegoating that is happening is being done for political expediency.
And not just that, the world is currently exposing South Africans. It is all over social media, especially from their mainstream channels.
South Africans are well-behaved people. Now we are taking over that job. And when we were telling them, it's not wise to build in a foreign land, they thought it's a joke. Yes, go to other countries, because we do have got South Africans that are in other countries legally. We won't see South Africans flooding foreign prisons where they are expecting citizens of those countries to feed them like we are doing in South Africa.
Currently as we speak?
Currently as we speak.
What's that number looking like, more or less?
We have about 67.
67.
South Africans.
And are they all convicted on drug-related charges?
Yes, most of them, they are convicted on drug-related charges. And most of them are actually victims of human trafficking, same like Sylvester.
Yeah. Where would you say some of the epicenter is when it comes to South Africans being convicted for being involved in drugs? Which countries should we be looking at? So you mentioned Hong Kong.
Yes, Brazil, Mauritius, that is where we have a lot of males, and most of them, they are whites. Mostly in Mauritius. Yes. Yeah, and we also just heard a bit earlier on from the Department of Social Development that a 5-year-old is going to be brought back from Mauritius after their mother was convicted. Yes. Of course, what would you like to see happen? What I would like to see happening, because we took the memorandum to the President, Cyril Ramaphosa, and then he instructed us that we need to meet with the Correctional Services Minister, which by then was Mr. Lamola. And then to this day, we have not got any response from Mr. Lamola's office. So currently we have a new minister, Mr. Groenewald. I'm just asking from him that if he can meet with us and work with us on this policy, because South Africa is one of the 3 countries in the world without international prisoner transfer, but we are part of the United Nations. But our government does not want to sign this policy. That's what I can say, because this problem started in 1994. That was when we had a first South African being arrested in Hong Kong. So there's been a lot of advocates. Before me, there were other advocates like Ms. Patricia Gerbe, who was advocating, whose son was arrested in Mauritius. Like, Mauritius is ready to sign the international prisoner transfer. Hong Kong is ready to sign the international prisoner transfer. Even Minister Lindwe Sisulu, she went to Brazil 2018. She went there to conclude the prisoner transfer contract, but then she was removed from her position as a minister. So you can see that there is a lot of, dirty hands, within the ministers or whoever that is involved within this drug trafficking.
Maybe something that we should pick up with government as well and find out why there is the delay. Is it something that South Africa wants to pursue? But how many cases are you currently dealing with as South Africa?
Currently, we are dealing with about 873 South Africans in foreign countries, not just abroad, even here within SADC.
Now, dear brothers and sisters, what you just watched is just the preamble. Let's go to South African schools. People are leaving South Africa. Many already left. Ngwano, dear South Africans, it is time to go back to school. And listen, you will pay the fees. It is not about lamenting that foreigners are flooding your schools. They pay tuition fees and every fee is being paid. And the school also remits some of this tuition to the government. Foreigners in South Africa are the ones boosting the economy of South Africa. Why some citizens in South Africa get paid welfare money from the taxes and the labor of foreign workers. Now that they are mostly gone, you have your schools back. There was an information flying on social media and I said, okay, when I saw this video, I kept searching to be sure it is not AI or propaganda, because in this channel it must be real before we bring it up to your notice.
The Cape Department of Education has announced the closure of 123 public schools across the province due to what it says are dwindling learner enrollment numbers, with a reported 300 more targeted to be shut down in the future. While the department says the closures are necessary in order to optimize resources, civil organizations warn of the devastating ripple effects on rural communities. Young children will have to travel longer, unsafe distances to access basic schooling, and overcrowding could result. In 2016, the Eastern Cape Premier launched the School Rationalization Program, announcing a sweeping plan to close a merge of 1,900 under-enrolled schools. To discuss the human impact and constitutional implications of these closures, we're joined now by Itumeleng Motlhabane, Head of Equal Education. Itumeleng, thank you very much for your time and happy Women's Day. Equal Education has said that you are cautiously supportive of the closure of the schools. Tell us why.
Equal education, our previous stance, and that continues to be our stance, to say we are not against rationalization. However, we are highly concerned in the ways that we've seen rationalization being executed, particularly in the province of the Eastern Cape. Rationalization cannot be weaponized against school as the number one measure in order for the department to find an scapegoat in providing school infrastructure. Now, when you look at what's been happening in the Eastern Cape, is that because of the bad school infrastructure in a lot of rural schools, parents have been voting with their feet and taking their children to where there's better schooling infrastructure, and thus then forcing the numbers in a lot of schools to go down. And so we are saying that more than just blaming communities, because this is what we've been hearing as the rhetoric from the Eastern Cape Department of Education, education, there needs to be an introspection in terms of how the appalling conditions of learning, particularly in Eastern Cape schools, have contributed into the crisis that we're finding ourselves in.
The Eastern Cape Department of Education is closing 123 schools due to dwindling enrollment numbers. The decision to close the schools was taken this financial year, with the move already being implemented in some facilities. A further 300 schools will also be closed in the next few years. Malibongo Mtima is the spokesperson for the Eastern Cape Department of Education and joins us for more on this. Mr. Mtima, thank you so much for your time this evening. Now, this decision by your department says we want to minimize what we call unviable schools in our systems. Maybe we could start with definitions. What do we call an unviable school?
Some will say, oh, it is because of dilapidated structures in some communities. That is why some parents moved their children. Some will say, oh, their parents moved to big cities. Well, the math is not matching. The question is, why now? If you all could remember the first time, the season that this xenophobia started erupting its head, that was the first time they started planning this rationalization. Later on in 2018, and now, what does that mean? Something happened. There are chains of events that trigger this formation. And that's simply the xenophobic attitude of South Africans when they start driving out foreigners from their nation. So if you are saying it is because people are going to the big cities, what happened to the people in your communities? So many of them are in rural communities. Aren't they supposed to be in school? Why? Because the main people occupying your schools are children of foreigners. Don't give us all these unnecessary excuses.
You chased away all the foreigners. Mm-hmm. The landlords are complaining. Mm-hmm. Rents are not coming. Because rents are not coming, the banks are coming end of this month. Mm-hmm. They want their money from the person who built these houses and flats. They want their money in the bank. The person who was having these properties can no longer pay.
Oh yeah.
He was paying the mortgage, then maybe 30, 40, 50,000 after collecting his 70, 80,000 this side. Mm-hmm. Now all those tenants have left.
Okay.
The man is left with a debt of 10, 15 million that is in his hands because of the flat that he built. And there's no way he can fill up this flat between now and the 30th of July. What's going to happen to this man? And he won't be able to fill it to capacity, which is what it was until December.
Oh yeah.
Maybe never.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So what is he going to do with this property that he had invested money into? So we're going to see the property market beginning to become shaky. As and again, how convenient. Because the same white man who is at the back here, who gave the loan to this man to build his house. Now the man has failed to build his house. What will the bank come and do? They come and repossess the flats. And who owns the bank? So at the end of the day, whether you chase away the black man, and etc., the white man still stands to benefit. The transport industry is already complaining. Taxis would fill up in 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. Now they're sitting at the rank for more than 45 to an hour to fill up. What are they going to do at the end of the month? They need to pay for this car. Universities, that has been taking students, foreign students. What are they going to do now?
He who fetched termite-infested wood is asking the lizard for a visit.